Hey, thanks for joining me today on the channel. If this is your first time here, I'm David, and our reading today is Judges 10 through 12. Today, we're going to cover 6 more judges in Israel. I know that sounds like a lot, but 5 out of the 6 judges just have a few things written about them, so we'll go through them pretty quickly today. But let's just take a quick review of the judges that we've seen up to this point. The first judge was Othniel, who delivered Israel from the rule of the Mesopotamians. The second judge was Ehud, the left-handed man who delivered Israel from the Moabites. The third judge was Shamgar, who delivered Israel from the Philistines. And the fourth judge was Deborah, the prophetess. Under her leadership, Israel was delivered from the hand of the Canaanites. Gideon was the fifth judge, and he saved Israel from Midian. And the sixth was Abimelech, who was arguably the worst judge, who only sowed chaos and was made king outside of God's plan, which brought disaster. Now today we begin in the 10th chapter, and we learn about a 7th judge named Tola. And he judged Israel for 23 years, and the 8th judge named Jair, and he judged Israel for 22 years. The only thing recorded about him is he had 30 sons who rode 30 donkeys. Well, Israel disobeyed and did evil in the sight of the Lord, and they served other gods of other people groups that they were told not to. They served the Baals, the Asheroth, the gods of Shihon, the gods of Moab, the gods of the Amorites, the gods of the Philistines, and they forsook the Lord. And this angered God very much, and he allowed 2 nations to oppress Israel at the same time, the Philistines and the Ammonites. Again, Israel cries out to God to save them. But this time, God actually tells them, "You like worshiping these other foreign gods so much? Let them save you." Now Jephthah becomes the 9th judge of Israel, and he was born the son of a prostitute, and the rest of his family household sent him away to live in Tob because he had no inheritance from his father's house. Now he grew up and became a mighty warrior. And when the Ammonites made war on Israel, the elders of Gilead sought him out to lead them into battle. Now Jephthah's response to them was, "Aren't you the ones that threw me out and drove me away in the first place? Why do you need my help now?" A legitimate question, but not so much a legitimate answer. The elders said, "Well, that's the very reason why we want you to lead us and to become head over all Gilead." Now, I don't think that was the real reason at all. They weren't trying to make up to him. They were so scared of the Ammonites that they needed a warrior to fight for them. And they were going to say anything they needed to get him to take charge and defend them. And Jephthah has the elders make an oath to him in front of all the people and before the Lord. On the surface, it seems like Jephthah is making sure that all parties agree to this, but I think Jephthah is really securing a position in a way that the people of Gilead can't break it. Now Jephthah sends word to the king of the Ammonites, and he asks him, "So why are you making war on us anyway?" And the king answered, "Well, it's because when your fathers came out of Egypt, they took the land from us." And Jephthah explains that the Ammonites were dispossessed from the land for more than 300 years. Why hasn't their God delivered it back into their hands during that time? Well, the negotiations break down quickly, and the Ammonites were determined to take back the land, and war was imminent. Jephthah appeals to God, and he makes a vow that if God will deliver the Ammonites into his hand, he'll sacrifice the first thing he sees when he gets home as a burnt offering to the Lord. Well, God does go before Jephthah, and they defeat the Ammonites because God's Spirit moved upon them. And the very first thing Jephthah sees when he gets home and returns is his only daughter running out to meet him with her tambourine. Now, he can't break the vow that he made to God, and he tears his clothes because he realizes he'll have to sacrifice his only daughter. Now, the daughter, her response is not what I would expect. She seems more concerned that her father keep his vow that he made to God than her own life. But she does ask for 2 months to weep for her virginity along with her friends because she'll never marry, she'll never have children, she'll never get anything out of life that she dreamed about. After her time was up, Jephthah carried out his vow, and he sacrificed her to the Lord just as he promised. Now, the only time we've seen anything similar to this in Israel is Abraham offering up Isaac at the altar, but God intervened and provided a sacrifice. This time, however, God doesn't stop Jephthah's hand, and God allowed her to be sacrificed. Now, Jephthah and the tribe of Ephraim started having some issues. It seems Ephraim was upset that Jephthah hadn't called them to go out to war with the Ammonites, so they threatened to burn down Jephthah's house around him. Jephthah told him, I called you, but you wouldn't come out to save me from the Ammonites. So I had to take matters into my own hands. So why are you coming to fight up against me now? The Gileadites and the Ephraimites fought, and they were fighting fiercely, but the Gileadites held a superior position at the fords at the Jordan. Now the fugitives of the Ephraimites would ask to cross over the river to get home. And they would ask him, well, are you an Ephraimite? And then say, no. So they would test them by having them say the word shibboleth. Now, if they could say it correctly, they could pass on over. But if he said sibboleth, then he was put to death. Apparently, the people of Ephraim spoke a slightly different dialect, and they couldn't say the SH sound, and it was literally a dead giveaway. By the end of the day, 42,000 men of Ephraim had fallen. Now Jephthah judged Israel for 6 years after that, and then he died. The 10th judge in our list is Ibzan. His claim to fame was 30 sons and 30 daughters, and he gave his daughters away to other clans, and he took 30 daughters from outside his clan and gave to his sons, sort of a daughter swap. He judged Israel for 7 years, and he died. The 11th judge was Elon, and he judged Israel for 10 years, and then he died. And the 12th was Abdon, and he had 40 sons and 40 grandsons, and they all rode 70 donkeys. What is it with donkeys again? Well, he judged Israel for 8 years, and of course, he died. You know, at first glance, it looks like Jephthah kind of came out on the short end of the stick on most of his life. He was recognized for his warrior and leadership skills by the very people that rejected him in the first place. And he was cunning by having his contract witnessed by all the people so that they couldn't back out of it. After all, they'd tossed him aside once before. And he was very intelligent, devising a scheme to detect the infiltrators at the ford of the Jordan by using a word that his enemies couldn't say. And even though there's little mention of God's involvement in all of his affairs, it's evident that he worshiped and feared God because he would not break his vow by withholding his daughter. Now, it's hard to see how all these pieces fit together sometimes, and maybe they're not meant to. We expect everything to be wrapped up with an understanding of what happens and what the moral of the story is. In this case, it seems we're left with more questions than answers because too many details are just not present. It takes God dwelling in our midst at the center of our lives for things to make sense. And without him, we truly can't accomplish much of anything. Tomorrow, we'll take a look at our last and 13th judge of this book, Samson. You won't want to miss it. So we'll see you back here tomorrow.